Hi everybody, and welcome to another edition of Virtual Sunday School. Well, today, as you can see in the background, we're celebrating our annual trunk or treat. And that brings up a question. Can we celebrate Halloween as Orthodox? Well, technically no. What we do is we call it a harvest festival. But isn't it great that you can get together with all your friends and you can go trick-or-treating and you can get candy and you can play games and you can see all of your friends? That's what this Halloween for us is all about. So we don't call it Halloween, but we still have the same fun as all the rest of the kids do on Halloween. So does that mean then that Halloween is a bad thing? Well, only in the sense that as Orthodox, we don't believe in witches, and we don't believe in warlocks, and we don't believe in talking to the dead and ghosts and all of those things. So all those things that you normally think about when you think about Halloween, those are things that we don't believe in as Orthodox, and so that's why we changed the name to Harvest Festival, because this is the time when farmers would celebrate because they've picked all of their crops and they're ready for winter. So they celebrate it with a harvest fest, and that's what we're doing here instead of calling it Halloween. So we don't believe in witches and warlocks, but we do believe in good tasting candy. So go out, have some fun, be with your friends, but remember, even though we can have fun, we're still always celebrating as a community that worships God together. Hold on, we're not done yet because I've got a special story for today that you're gonna see coming up soon. Do we believe in witches and warlocks?
No.
No, okay. But in the Bible, there was a story about a witch, all right? So that's why I got the broom, because that's what we're gonna talk about today. So there was this king, long time ago, and he was a very good king. And so his name was Saul. So Saul was a very good king, and he was well loved by his people, and he went into battle and he defeated quite a few armies. But like a lot of kings, he got full of himself. He says, you know what? I'm a really good king. My people love me. And you know what happened? What happened to him? He got a big head, and he thought to himself, you know what? I'm actually better than these people here. In fact, I think I'm probably the best. Well, he had a friend of his who was like a priest. Well, he actually was a priest, and he used to tell him stuff. So if you've got a friend and that friend is like kind of full of themselves and they're all acted really big, if you're their friend, what would you tell them? What'd you say to him?
You're not better than us?
Yeah, you're not better than us. So that's what this priest told him. He says, hey, you got to be more caring. So the king says, well, I don't know necessarily if I'm going to follow that. So he started becoming worse and more corrupt. In the meantime, his friend, the priest, he died. And so Saul was all by himself. And whenever you're by yourself and you think that you're really good, it gets even worse. So this went on for many years, and God saw this and said, this is not good. And he told him, he says, he told him in a dream, he says, Saul, you better get your stuff together because you're not behaving and treating the people the way that they should be treated. And all of a sudden now, the armies from outside his kingdom, the Philistines, were gonna come and they were gonna attack their kingdom. So he got really nervous. And since God wasn't answering his prayer, you know what Saul did? Saul says, you know what? He says, I've got to talk to my friend, the priest. And the people said, but your friend is dead. He says, that's not a problem. He says, because I heard about this witch, and this witch can talk to the dead. Now, can we talk to the dead? No, we can't talk to the dead. Exactly right. So he goes to this witch. Now, the witch was really kind of a fake. All right. But Saul went to her and he says, can you make my priest friend come back to life? And so she says, oh, yeah, no problem. I can do that. So she makes up a bunch of words and she says, oh, great priest, friend of Saul, I want you to appear to me so that Saul can talk to you. Well, guess what happened? So the priest appeared. Well, the witch was so scared that she fell down after she screamed and she passed out because she was like, this never happened before. Nobody's ever come back from the dead. And now the priest came back and he said to Saul, why have you brought me back? Now Saul's really nervous because he's like, uh-oh, I don't think this is good. And then the witch woke up and went, no, it's not good. And then she saw the priest and she fainted and then passed out again. So now Saul's by himself and the priest is telling him, you have disobeyed the word of God. And for that reason, when the Philistines attack you, you will die.
Bye-bye.
So you can imagine that this was not a good idea for Saul to try to contact the dead. But God allowed it because he wanted now Saul to learn his lesson. And unfortunately, the lesson was a tough one. And sure enough, the next day, the Philistines attacked and Saul's army went to battle with them. And you know what happened?
They died.
Yes, they all died. So, what am I trying to say with this broom? 1, do we believe in witches?
No.
Can we talk to the dead?
No.
Okay. And if you do see somebody from the dead, what do you do?
Scream.
Scream. Scream and pass out. All right.
Scream and then faint.
So there is a story in the Bible about witches, but it turns out in the end, really, she wasn't a witch. All right. So now, with you guys, I'm going to walk around and now it's time to get some candy, get some treats. All right.